He is not. It's not as if he's hanging on somebody else's coattail on his team. It's him. If you take him off this team, they will probably again not be in the playoffs. Or they will be a
easily
10th seed.
Easily not in the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's one conversation. MVP. Malcolm Brogdon is out. You did mention that. Giannis dealing with, I think, an ankle issue. If you're not 100% when it comes to the playoffs, that's when the real basketball starts. I've been saying that. A lot of people say that. So if you're not at 100%, there was a Instagram post saying, should he be shut down right now to be ready for the playoffs? My answer is yes. My answer is hell yes. Yes, you're already in the playoffs. Do not worry about trying to win these measly games and the rest of these games, the last couple games of the season.
Well, what's their record right now? How many games do they got ahead of Denver and the Warriors?
Yeah, I'm about to check it right now as you're talking.
Because, that's the other part, right? Like, I think that what they're looking at, and like I said, if you're a finals team, which I think Milwaukee is a finals team, I think they have the capability of being a finals team. I think they're looking at the aspect of we got to make sure that we get home court in the finals, right? They got to have the best record in the NBA so they can get home court in the finals. You're not going to beat the Warriors 4 games at home. Maybe Denver, you know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have to beat the Warriors at home. And the Warriors at home, even though, people want to say, the regular season, they've been losing a lot of games. They've lost a lot of games in the regular season at home for the past 2 or 3 seasons. Like, people are like, they're getting like up in arms about it. Nah, this is last year they lost like 13 games at home. Right? Like, it happened. It happens, right? Once the playoffs start, they're a whole different team. They've showed you that. Like, they just blow people out. I don't see it, I don't see nothing different happening this season. Like, you still got to come to Oakland and beat the Warriors at home, and it is a tough out to beat them at home, period. So,
and so
you want home advantage.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, you want home court advantage, and I think that Milwaukee might be looking at that aspect as well. You mentioned Brogdon being out. Didn't they lose Meritek too, I believe?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me check their injury list now. And to your question, Bucks. Thanks, Jelani. Bucks are 57-20. They got 3 games above the Raptors right now, and we have, let's see how many games left in the season. We got a handful of games left. Let me see exactly how many games left. We have 4 games left after tonight's game. They're playing in Brooklyn right now. So 4 games after tonight's game. So, maybe you give them another 2 games. But yeah, you need to make sure that he's healthy. But I do hear your point too, that you need to also think about home court advantage. Meritage is out for 2 to 4 weeks. That was on the 20th. So he may be coming back any time now. But this is the worst possible time to have injuries. The worst possible time.
Okay. Of course. This is a bad time, man, because you're getting into your groove. You want to start gearing up for the playoffs, and then you got injuries, so you can't start implementing what you want to do right now. But like I said, the Bucks should be fine. They'll end up playing Orlando or Miami in the first round, and they should kill them. They should kill them with no problem. So, they got a little leeway.
Yeah. All right, so the other topic as far as NBA Rookie of the Year. Mo Cheese posed this question. This was probably last Friday, I believe, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I think it's Luka. I think he's done enough. I think Trae Young is definitely at a surge the second half of the season. Also, these game winners help. A lot of these awards too. You got, if you're an actual human, if you see somebody hit a game winner or a couple of game winners, or if you see him cross a couple people over, or if you see him on ESPN every single night, you are going to get more excited about that player than you are about someone that's not on ESPN every night or not doing things outside of the ordinary. So I said Luka because I think he's put up the stats, he's put up the numbers. He's also very valuable to the Mavs. You can definitely say Trae Young is valuable to Atlanta as well. But I wanted to get your thoughts on who's NBA Rookie of the Year.
I gotta agree with you. I think it's Luka. I think Luka started off the season hot. He looked like a polished veteran. He didn't look like a rookie. He looked like a veteran out there. They played really, really well at the beginning of the season. And he made some game winners. He did some great, stuff, man. And I think that, Trae Young, and even Bagley, I think both of those kind of made that push late in the season. But I think that Luka had already kind of stamped his presence in the league. And with that being said, I think that it's hard to go against him winning. Even though, I think that Trae Young and Bagley have had great seasons. I wish Bagley got hurt a little bit. And, when Bagley got hurt, I think that's when Sacramento really fell out of the playoff race. So I felt like if Sacramento wouldn't make the playoffs, I think Bagley would have made a great argument for that Rookie of the Year award. But I got to give it to Luka.
Okay. All right. Let me read a couple of comments here, kind of going back and forth. Luka, Rookie of the Year, more consistent than Trae Young all season, says Courtney. I agree with you there. Luka, Trae Young has overtaken Luka, says Antoine. Mochi says agreed. Smitty, Trae Young is now Rookie of the Year. Young struggled in the beginning of the season, turned it up later on, says Courtney. And that's it. This is a full season award. I know we want to get emotional. We want to say that just because you get a couple game winners towards the end, and at the half point, he's been balling out, and that's all great. But this is a full season award, and Luka's been consistent the entire season.
Yeah,
and I think that's the deciding factor if and who wins this award.
Yeah, I mean, Luka was so good, they just traded everybody else.
Exactly.
Dallas was like, let's just get rid of everybody, forget it.
They just said, forget it. We are about to lean
Harrison
Barnes on him.
And
Mochi says, just like with teams that come out good, everybody says they would do it all after the All-Star break. Trae has made his mark since the break. I think he wins by a small margin. I think he loses by a small margin. You can give him that participation trophy, the little one that you get with the basketball player with the big head holding the ball next to him. You can give him that one, but I don't think he's going to get Rookie. I would be shocked if Trae Young wins Rookie of the Year. And this is a great conversation to have. It's great to have a conversation about young rookies and their impact on the game, because I love to see young rookies come in and contribute immediately. That's what you want. If you're a top 5 pick, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So they're living up to their name. They're living up to what they're doing. So it's going to be exciting when awards ceremony time comes around. So also, as we kind of talk about the Mavs a little bit, Porzingis has been in the news for a potential case against him. He's being investigated in New York for an alleged rape that a woman told police took place last year. And again, we have another one of these situations where you have a player that is linked to something that should not happen. The full story is not out. It is being investigated. So when more details come out, I will continue to mention that and talk about it as more things come out. But I think Porzingis will be a Mav, and I don't think the Mavs would have made this trade if they did not think he was all in on signing there. Because if they did make this trade and he wasn't all in, it's got to be the dumbest trade of all time, because he has not played this entire season. Whenever he steps on the NBA court, he is wearing slacks and a button-up and a jacket. He is not wearing shorts. When he comes to the arena, game time. But on Porzingis, do you see him staying with the Mavs, or do you see him doing a pump fake and trying to get out of there?
No, I definitely see him staying with the Mavs. I think the Mavs have shown that they're a good organization. Mark Cuban typically has some type of game plan in place, so he knows what he's doing. They have a veteran coach there, Rick Carlisle. I don't see a reason for him to leave at all. Like, this is an organization that typically takes care of their players. They typically have a game plan in place. They know what they're doing, and that's simply what Porzingis asked for. He just wants to know what's the direction of the Knicks, and they traded him for that. So I think that he stays there, and they'll re-sign him, give him a big contract, and him and Luka will be the building blocks in Dallas.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting this offseason, especially the draft. I don't know if they have a shot to get the lottery or not, because they're continuing to win games. So that'll be interesting. But how we always do, appreciate you for coming on. Love the conversation, love the talk. Okay, my bad, I forgot. We got to talk Final Four real quick. How surprised are you? How surprised are you with these 4 teams? Let me know. Let everybody know.
I am extremely surprised, with the exception of one team, Michigan State, which I guess I knew they would be there. The other 3, I'm extremely surprised. Texas Tech played some great basketball. Auburn shocked me. Bruce Pearl looks like he's back. And Virginia was the number one seed that we thought would lose first. They're the only one standing now. So I am extremely shocked. It should be a great Final Four. You got 2 new upcoming teams. You got Virginia, who's been pretty good for the past 3 years, has really nothing to show for it, and Michigan State, which is an old wily bed. So I'm ready to see a great Final Four.
Yeah. And the only team that I got right is Michigan State. All the other teams are wrong. Obviously, I had North Carolina. I had Tennessee, got that one wrong. In the Midwest, I had UNC, so obviously got that one wrong. And I had Gonzaga in the West. And what a redemption story for Virginia. If they win this whole thing, this is going to be the greatest redemption story ever. You lose to University of Maryland. What was that? Like Emerson County or something like that. You lose to them, and if you can come back and win the national championship, that's gonna be one of the biggest stories ever in sports, period. So out of all these teams, I am kind of torn because Virginia's from the ACC, so I want to kind of root for them. But Texas Tech is in Texas. I do want to kind of root for them too. Michigan State and Auburn. There's a lot. There's really 3 underdogs in this whole thing. I think Auburn, if they somehow win it, Charles Barkley is probably going to streak around the Auburn campus if they somehow win this national championship. And nobody wants to see that. But it could possibly happen. Because, Barkley can get a little crazy sometimes. But, so who do you have winning it all? All right, sound like I might have lost you. But I would say out of all these teams, who I think is going to win the national championship, I think it's going to be Virginia. I think Auburn, especially with one of their star players being injured, he's done. That's going to come into play. Michigan State seems to get very far, but when it comes down to it, they cannot win. Texas Tech, I think, is a great team to be in the spot. They play great defense, but I don't know if they can win the whole thing. So I'm leaning towards Virginia. A couple of comments here. Porzingis building lawyer fees. And Courtney, you're right. He said Texas Tech. So big ups to you. Texas Tech got that defense is serious. Izzo has the advantage with his experience. Only team I got right was VA. Shout out to Raider Kev. I think everybody probably got one team. Not everybody. But the majority of people, I hope, at least got one team. because Michigan State, like I said, is always in the mix. Tyon, you still there?